Triple T time. It's the Changwana's tips, tricks, and techniques to living and working a happier life in Korea.
All right, so this is our tips and tricks for controlling our classroom, or a couple ways each how we manage our class and keep things under control and make the 40 minutes, 50 minutes kind of fly by without any major problems happening.
Yeah.
So let's start with Phil. Phil.
So teaching adults is kind of tricky. Most of my students are older than me. So sometimes on the first day of classes, I'll walk in and just take a seat with them. Kind of confuses them, and then like, oh wait, I'm the teacher, and they're like, ah, ha, ha, it's hilarious. But it's not really. It's only for me. I actually had an incident this week. My co-teacher was complaining about the students. There were 3 Marine guys, pretty big guys, and they've been late for her class constantly. So, she was really upset about it. She doesn't like to discipline students. So I was like, I'll take care of it. So what I did was I walked in because I had the class right after her. So I walked in during their break, and I told it was a group of 7 students, 3 Marines, 2 civilian workers, the Coast Guard, and so I told all the other students to leave, but the 3 Marines just sit in class. I was just calm, which freaks them out. Like if you're angry and you're calm about it, it really freaks them out. So I sent all the other students, pack up your stuff, go in the other room, and just wait for me. And I stood there for almost a minute in silence, and they get really nervous. Like, teacher, you're making us nervous. Like, why? Why are you nervous? And like, oh, we're so sorry. Like, what are you sorry for? Oh, we were late from lunch. I'm like, yeah. Do you know what time our class starts? And so they're apologizing. They're telling me I'm so handsome. And it's like, listen, you guys are in the military. You know what time to be in class. Please be early.
Yeah, you got to be punctual, right?
Yeah, I hate when people are late or disruptive. So I told them to wait in this class, and then whenever you're ready, come join everyone else. And I walked out. And so being calm, I think, is the best approach. I used to lose my cool a lot with students, but now I think separating them from their peers is the best way. Like I've had a student throw a pencil case at me when I was teaching at a Hagwon. I was teaching kids, and he threw a pencil case at me, and like I matrix style dodged it, and it just hit the wall behind me. And I looked at him, and it was just because I gave him homework, which was my job to give them homework. So I told the student to get up and just go outside and wait. He's like, no. And so I opened the door and waited. I didn't teach until he left. And I kept him outside, and I could just see him crying. Like, if you lose your cool, then they win. Just, be calm about it. When I was a student, I was always, the class clown joking. And so you immediately find the student who's going to be the trouble, and you engage that student the most. You joke around with them, and I think it makes things a lot smoother whenever you're trying to teach, if they're being disruptive.
So you can do the whole disappointed, quiet look, and it works with the adults.
Yeah, because, actually the worst students I ever have are just students that sleep during class because they've been out drinking all night. So I usually just let it slide like, I've been there, bud. Just sleep it off. Come back whenever you're ready.
All right. And any others?
Yeah,
there'll be a difference between, let's say, you and our classes because you do teach adults.
But I also teach the children, so if someone's being disruptive, single them out. Sometimes for the kids, I make fun of that kid, and then the other kids like call them names and stuff, and so I just have the whole class gang up on the troublemaker, and that usually quiets them down. Spread rumors that they poop their pants or something, and they call them Dong Sage.
Yeah. All right, and Adam, what are some of your tips and tricks for managing a class?
All right,
you have bigger classes than all of us, so
yeah. Well, I think the most important thing is to put your foot down. The first couple classes, you're going to run into kids who are troublemakers or who are not going to listen to you, or they're going to try and disrupt your lesson. So you got to make it clear to them that kind of behavior does not work with me. There's a bunch of ways I go about this. Sometimes I take them to their homeroom teacher and I say, this kid is acting up and you have to discipline him. And they're terrified of their homeroom teachers. So, that's usually pretty effective. Another one I have is sometimes I just get them to stand up. Like I take their chair away from them, and so they have to stand for the rest of the lesson. And it sounds kind of like pedestrian, but it has worked for me in the past because it sucks standing through a 40-minute lesson, when all of your peers are sitting there enjoying themselves. Another one is I like to tie up my lessons with like a 10-minute game or so, and I'll either exclude them from the game or I will say there's no game today because of so-and-so. And that's when their peers look at him and they're like, I can't believe you did this, like you ruined English class for us today. Yeah. And then they don't mess around after that.
Just have them gang up on them.
Yeah, and there's also, a lot of teachers do this. I don't do it myself, but I've heard it's pretty effective, is a point system. So like if a class is well behaved in a certain amount of time, you can give them incentives. You can say, at the end of the month, you guys are really good, so we're going to have like a cookie party or
snack party.
A snack party, and they eat that stuff up, they really love it.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
All right, I have kind of similar ways. I've been doing this a long time. It's a big difference than when I first came to Korea. When I first came to Korea, my first school actually handed me this wooden spoon to hit kids with.
Oh, man.
And I was like, I'm not too into that.
It's not my kink.
Never used it, but this was a wooden shaped spoon thing that was carved literally to smack kids in the hands. But that's not the route I ever went down with, obviously. So
thank God you didn't.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just thought it was weird, but
yeah.
I still held it in front of the class because the kids knew what it was and they were scared.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no way I'm smacking any kids around.
Corporal punishment went away in our country, 60 years ago or something?
It was popular here in the early 2000s.
I think it still is.
I've seen principal type,
Oh, I think it still is.
I've seen, principals punching kids in the face.
Oh yeah, I've seen teachers like with a meter stick slapping kids in the ass. Like
I was at one school and this kid, dropped the F-bomb, the major one, because he didn't, he thought he'd get away with it, and so I saw the owner, which was this older guy, really nice guy. He was walking by, and I was like, "Oh, could you come here for a second?" And like, I was like, "Why don't you just tell him what you said to me?" And like, he didn't say it. It's like, who here heard what he said? And they all rose, their hands up. I'm like, tell him, like, whisper to him what he said. And the kid's face got white, and the director or the owner grabbed the kid by the shirt and just took him out and didn't see him for the rest of the day.
Oh man.
Yeah, he got, yeah. Another thing I've done before, it's kind of risky, but it's always worked, is I bluff. So I'll if someone's acting up, I'll take their phone or whatever, find their parents' contacts, and copy their number to my phone, and like, one more time, and I'm gonna call your father. And so they take it as gold, like just bluffing that I would call, because their parents probably can't even speak English, but if you have to call their parents, they will freak out.
I've done that, but I'm like, I'm gonna bang your mom.
Call me father.
That works. That's weird because in all my classes, I'm probably older than all my kids' parents, and I've been in Korea longer than all my students. So it's a bit weird that way. But in my classes, I don't allow phones in my class. I have a basket. All kids have to put their phones in the basket, which is not one of my tips and tricks. That's kind of just the school I'm at's policy. But one of my first tricks I actually learned from my current boss is whatever I have planned out for the day. Like, let's say I have to do page 54, 55, 56, and I might give 57, 58 for homework. In the beginning of class, I go in and I write 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, a couple extra pages on the board. And the kids know whatever we don't finish is going to be homework. So we do a page in class, I erase it once it's done. And if they get through, if every page is done type thing, it's kind of manipulated. Like I know
Yeah.
what I'm gonna do. And
If it
stuff like
works,
that.
man, it works though, right?
So we do a page, I erase it, and the kids are always happy.
Yeah.
But they work their asses off in the beginning and want to get through it and want the page
You
done.
must hear like so many sighs of relief too, eh? Like when you erase that shit, they're probably just like, "Oh God, thank God."
So do you give out homework regularly?
I try not to.
Yeah. I just you just end up disappointed or someone copying and then they don't really learn.
I
anything.
usually don't because I know that they're not really going to do it for me,
Yeah.
compared to a Korean teacher. Another thing I do, I always write the kids' names on the board. Especially this is really helpful for new classes, new students. I just kind of lay it out starting from say the right side. I write the kids' names on the boards, and then I could always refer to it if I don't know the kids, and know, okay, this is this kid's name, and I put 3 stars. And if a kid speaks Korean, I erase a star. If the kid does something good, they get a star. And
So yeah, essentially like a point system,
like
right?
a point system,
Yeah.
but by the end of the class, if they have at least 3 stars, they don't have homework type thing. So like a point system, but it's also a way of getting to know the kids' names and stuff like that. And then another thing, like you guys mentioned, I do sometimes kind of have the class self-police itself,
Mhm.
whether it's pointing out a kid and, all right, we're not doing this today because of so-and-so and the other kids, but not so much, as an individual, I don't like to point out kids because it could cause trouble. So I'll be like, if somebody speaks Korean, you're writing this 5 times as a
Yeah.
class.
Yeah.
So if a kid does do it, it's like, all right.
Oh man, I miss like when I was out of middle school, like we mentioned earlier, like how female students are a lot better. And I used to have these girls, and this is when I knew that I was a pretty good teacher, is like they would stand up and they'd be like, everyone, shut up. Like they'd be like, yeah, ta-da, like, hey guys. And everyone would kind of like straighten up and they'd be quiet. And I was like, oh, thank God, like I got these angels in my class who are actually like sticking up for me. It's great.
One time I had some students acting up and they were just getting on my last nerve. So I pulled up IMDb quotes and like I think it was from like Star Wars, like Darth Vader saying you've disappointed me for the last time, and I wrote it on the board and then I had them write that over and over until class ended.
Oh, wow.
Like just copy this quote, learn something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last thing for me is pretty much, I teach a lot of elementary school kids now. So we'll say 10 years old to 13. It's the common age. And basically, I make friends with all of the students. I'm different than all the other teachers in my school, especially like Korean teachers and stuff. I know that the kids know it, so I kind of make it like we're kind of friends. And I can do the whole, like Phil was saying, I never have to yell. I never have to raise my voice in class because I can just look disappointed and the kids feel bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if it's a smart ass in the class, I can just like look like I'm so disappointed.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
It's all acting, and the kid will just feel super bad.
Oh, I've gone
Because I'm buddies with the biggest shithead in the class to the nerdiest kid in the class.
Yeah.
We're all friends.
I've done things where I could walk up behind a student and just put my hand on his shoulder when he's being unruly, and he'll be like, "All right, time
touch me."
to stop this."
Don't touch me.
Don't touch me, white devil.
Yeah.
I avoid all that now. I have a barrier zone. I try to keep. I just, not because anything is wrong or anything like that. I just don't want to.
Do you guys have any students that like still contact you? Like maybe like once they finish your course?
Oh, I've seen kids on the street and like they come up to me and they'll be like, "Adam, teacher," and I don't remember them because I've gone through hundreds of kids at
Right.
this point. But like, I'll just smile and be like, "Oh, how you doing? How's middle school or how's high school?" Sometimes some of them are in high school now. Like.
It's even weirder for me because I have students that I taught that are in their
in college now.
mid-20s that are
Oh, yeah, you
super
got
hot,
guys who are, like,
super hot and
working at LG now. and
like
shit
I
or
got a
something.
request on Facebook and I'm like, holy smokes, who's this girl? It's like, oh man, I taught her like,
Big disappointment.
but,
Is that weird? Like
it's
you-
weird. Yeah. I typically don't add students to social media or anything like that. I mean, let's face it, I'm an easy person to find online.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you got a big digital footprint.
with all this stuff and
Yeah.
I mean, I have a couple little kids every Monday come in and like, teacher, I watched you on YouTube this weekend.
Like, oh god.
Like all the drunk trailer reviews. And
Oh,
drunk,
man.
And I'm like, yeah. It's like, yeah, I watched that movie too. And
They're like, who's your friend Adam with the toilet mouth?
Teacher, I learned a new word.
but it's all strange. I mean, there's a new Korean teacher at my school, and shout out to Claire. It's the first time I use that word.
Uh-oh, shout outs.
It's rubbing off because of you guys.
Hashtag
But,
Claire.
When I first came to Korea, she was 11 years old. So technically, I could have been her teacher
Yeah.
when I first came to Korea. So it's a bit weird in terms of there's definitely a lot of kids I've taught in this country that are
Time flies, man, when you're having fun, right?
Yeah.
can easily walk up to me in a bar now and, hey, Teacher Scott,
That would blow my mind.
Can I buy a drink?
That would blow my
Like,
mind. If I had a student come up to me and be like, I'll buy you a shot, I'll be like, oh, God. I've been here so long.
It's common with adults. I mean, there's a big difference teaching adults. When I taught adults in Jinhae, not a problem because I was into it when I was younger, was all these adult students, all they really wanted to do was go out and have drinks
Yeah, man.
throughout the week.
When I used to teach at companies, they'd take me out for hueshik, like the staff dinners. And I remember going in like the next lesson and they'd be sitting there and they'd be like, Adam, you're like a different person when you drink. And I'm like, yeah.
That's what happens when you add alcohol.
And a lot of the students I had in Jinhae, because it was at a company, all these mostly, they're all men really. They're living in the company apartments there.
Yeah.
So during the week, they just want to go out and have drinks
It's fun though, right?
because they would go home on weekends and
oh yeah.
spend time with their families. But
they get messy,
they were
man.
free,
They get messy, dude. Like when they get into the somic and all that stuff, like those bombs.
Keep pouring your glasses.
Oh, God.
I taught so when I do the kids camp in the summer and winter, I also have a civilian course. Like the kids are like 9 o'clock in the morning and the civilians maybe 2 o'clock. And so I had one class last winter and it was just Ajimas. Like it was an advanced level class, like conversation class, and it was all Ajimas. And there was one high school kid, but these Ajimas, they were the nicest people.
Yeah.
They took me out for dinners. They like after the course was over, it was my birthday, so they took me out to get some bosam, and it was awesome.
Oh, Ajumas are brilliant, man.
Like I was sick once during the course, and this lady brought bude jjigae like to go for me, and another lady, she. So it was before class. She was sneaking into her husband's liquor cabinet to bring me a bottle of Johnny Walker Black.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so she didn't think anyone was home, but she was sneaking anyways. And she took the bottle and put it in her bag. And her daughter walks up to her, I guess teenage daughter, and she's like, "Mom, what are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, I'm going to English class." And she's like, "Mom, I saw you with the liquor bottle." And so we're like joking around with her,
Oh
like
yeah, I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
joking around with her, telling her like her kid probably thinks you're in the park right now, drinking out of the bottle, smoking cigarettes, and